Forest Hill, and transitioning the Hillcrest and crossing over Duncan. Eventually they'll get back out to Ball and work their way down to the Perry Animal Control, make a loop and come back, and then turn back up Gilmer Street and Gilmer to cross over Washington to Evergreen, work their way back to the school. We believe this is very feasible. We can control the traffic, and that early in the morning, we don't think it'll be a significant impact.
Questions, council members? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 5D is the Southern Sky Fireworks contract approval. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. You will all recall that it was last buzzer drop when the city first had fireworks. I think it was the last year's buzzer drop. It was very successful. All the public that was in attendance really enjoyed it. And for that reason, the Department of Special Events, or the function of special events here at the city, is recommending doing that again this year. And you have a contract for your consideration with Southern Sky Fireworks in the amount of $5,000 for a fireworks show at midnight.
Questions, council? Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. Item 6 is a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide any interested parties with the opportunity to express their views and concerns in accordance with OCGA Section 36-66-4. Item 6A is a special exception, SUSE 0121-2025. The applicant is Brandy Dent, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 408 Haddenham Court. Mrs. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir. As stated, this is a special exception request for a short-term residential rental at 408 Haddenham Court. This is in the Sutton Place subdivision right off of Langston Road. The property is zoned as R2 single-family residential and surrounded on all sides by R2 single-family residential. She's requesting the use of the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house as the short-term rental. Capacity would be up to 8 guests with a maximum of 2 cars. Parking is available on the premises, and it did pass inspections. I will read the full report at the time of the public hearing. There was no feedback from surrounding residents, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Okay. Questions, council members, on the short-term rental? Thank you, Ms. Carson.
Yes, sir.
6B will be a second short special exception, SUSE 0122-2025. The applicant is Houston County Habitat for Humanity. They're requesting a special exception to reduce minimum house size. The property is located at 1113 Jewel Street, or Jewel Drive, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is another special exception request. The property is 1113 Jewel Drive. Habitat for Humanity is requesting to reduce the minimum house size. This is similar to a request that you all have approved in times past. The reason for this request is that their footprint, their normal footprint of the style of home that they build does not meet our minimum size requirement. They also would argue that they also present the case that the 1,500 square foot minimum exceeds what is currently in the normal development pattern in the neighborhoods that they choose to build in. So those neighborhoods usually have smaller and more narrow lot sizes, and homes that are 1,500 square feet don't necessarily fit that what's already present. The neighborhood character is the word that I'm looking for. So we will read the full report at the time of the public hearing. There was no feedback from residents, if memory serves, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the application as submitted.
Okay. Questions, council members? Thank you. Item 6C is a special exception, SUSE 0133-2025. The applicant is Misty Renna, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 603 Woodland Drive.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir, this is another special exception request. This short-term rental was located through our monitoring system. They were actively advertising as a short-term rental. We were able to make contact with them and reroute them through our approval process. So this one is near Tucker Road in the Brookwood subdivision. It's surrounded on all sides by R1 single-family residential. There was no feedback from surrounding residents. The owner was willing to come through without any questions or concerns with coming through the process. And it did pass the inspection for minimum compliance with health and safety standards. Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Okay. Questions, council? Thank you. Item 6D, special exception SUSE 0135, 2025. The applicant is Jody Ovalle.
Ovalle.
Huh?
Ovalle.
Ovalle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, excuse me. Requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 1614 Marshall Circle.
Yes, sir. As stated, this is another special exception request. We also located this property through our monitoring system and rerouted Ms. Ovalle through the approval process. She is requesting to use the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home for a maximum of 7 occupants and up to 4 vehicles. There is sufficient parking on the premises. It was inspected for the minimum health and safety requirements. I will read the full report at the time of the public hearing. There was no feedback from surrounding residents. Did we have feedback on this one? Okay. Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Questions, council? Thank you. 6E is a special exception, SUSE 0142, 2025. The applicant is Mitchell Faroni. Is that what it is?
I think it's Ferrone.
Huh?
I think this one is Ferrone.
Ferrone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 314 Grayton Way.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This is the last of the special exceptions of the evening. This one was also located through our monitoring system. Mr. Ferrone was not aware that we had an approval process for short-term rentals, so we rerouted him through the approval process. He's proposing to have the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home for use for up to 6 occupants and parking for up to 2 vehicles. It did pass an inspection for minimum health and safety requirements. I will read the full report at the time of the public hearing. Any feedback?
No, I just wanted to mention there was some general feedback at the Planning Commission meeting. Some members of the public expressed some thoughts regarding if we should implement some sort of buffer around area schools. There was concern about the nature of short-term rental in proximity to school locations, which we discussed with the Planning Commission at the most recent work session, and we're researching what some other communities have done to evaluate if that's something we'd wish to pursue. But no feedback specific to these addresses. It was general feedback.
Yes, sir. It wasn't relative to this site, because this site nowhere
Correct.
close to a school. So
Yes, sir.
it's just the overall concern about closeness to a school.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And 1614 Marshall Circle is in the vicinity of
It's
Perry
right
High
across
School.
the street from high school, yeah.
Yes, sir. But for this one, there was no direct feedback about this application, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Questions, council? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
6F is a rezoning request, RZNE 0137, 2025. The applicant is Matt Widener. Widener Associates Incorporated requests the rezoning of property from OI, Office Institutional, to RM2, Multifamily Residential. The property is located at 2002 Kings Chapel Road. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, sir. As stated, this is a rezoning request. for 2002 Kings Chapel Road. This is actually a third parcel of a previously proposed development. You all approved the rezoning of the other two parcels, and the developer realized after that process had started that the third parcel was not included on the application. However, it was included in the site plan that you all saw, the concept site plan that you all saw. So this is just kind of a cleanup process for them to get the approval, to seek the approval for this parcel to also be rezoned to RM2 multifamily residential so that they can complete their development. I will read the full report at the time of the public hearing. Was there any feedback on this application? No, okay. And sorry, Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Okay. Questions on this rezoning?
Just a general comment, Mayor. It's not a question on this specific one, but I noticed where on all of these applications, the Planning Commission unanimously approved each one. So we appreciate the work that not only Community Development, but Planning Commission put into this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Item
sir.
7, thank you, Ms. Carson. Item 7 will be the review of the minutes. 8 will be unfinished business. 8A is the stormwater pond at Greystone subdivision recommendations. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, you're very familiar with this item. I believe it's come to you a couple of times now over the past year as a bit of a unique set of circumstances. Following the last discussion, there were a couple of things that occurred. Staff looked into the ownership and the requirements thereof moving forward and putting together a recommendation to get back to you. Also, concurrently with that, Councilmember Peterson, as you may remember, attended an HOA meeting with a group out there to discuss options moving forward as well. Based on those discussions and analyses, you can see in the memo that you have in your board pack this evening a recommendation from administration outlining a course of action. The first part of that would be the city takes ownership of the pond area as a green space. There was a lot of back and forth relative to whether or not the city should take ownership of the pond. In looking at it, it is administration's recommendation that yes, and there are a couple of reasons behind that. The first is there is public stormwater that feeds into that formerly pond area. The second is the city required the construction of that pond, essentially negating the ability to build more houses, required that construction of that pond, and then after the fact, the regional pond came in that took the stormwater from what was that pond. So it's just kind of like an unfortunate set of circumstances and timing with that. And then moving forward with the pond area, we would request that the city attorney's office clarify some of the boundaries with that. You can see in the attached plat there is a current outline of ownership. It's not super clear to us exactly why that was put together the way it was, but in order to maintain the stormwater structures in there, we would need to adjust what exactly is accepted from the HOA at this time. And then as green space, the area will not be maintained generally. It's be just like any of our other green spaces. It's left to grow. Goes back to its natural state, if you will. The caveat with this particular set of circumstances would be there would be minimum maintenance as determined by Public Works, probably twice a year or so, in order to access the stormwater structures, to inspect those structures, and to maintain those structures. So that's what that is. Also, too, and this is something that I think the city could benefit more from, the city would plant trees in the green space. This has a number of benefits. You reduce the urban heat island effect, more effective stormwater control when stormwater does flow into that former pond area, and just provides a buffer for the residents around that area. Then you have at the bottom of the memo some of the rationale behind the recommendation, most of which I've gone through. So going back to the presentation from Ms. White relative to stormwater structures, it continues to be a challenge for us as a city as we work towards adhering to all the tenets associated with our MS4 permit. And, with this particular item, it would be in our best interest, I believe, to accept ownership of the pond and transition it over to green space. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions, council members?
Yes, excuse me, yes, sir. So, looking at the diagram, the area in blue is what we would take control of in your, it kind of looks like an outline of the continental United States.
Yeah, yes, sir, that's
Okay,
correct.
so that's what we would take control of, but it won't be a retention pond or a detention pond. It's just going to be, now that we have the regional pond, which was not there when this subdivision was platted, this is just going to be like for water to flow through.
It's basically a glorified ditch.
Okay,
I mean, when you come down to it, because it does receive the stormwater from that neighborhood. There are stormwater structures in the corners. They would convey into that area and then flow out, kind of, I guess, the area of Maine in the continental United States in your analogy there, and then flow down into the regional stormwater pond from there. So we would need to maintain that and make sure that stormwater is able to convey appropriately.
okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Smith. Appreciate that. Item 9 will be any other unfinished business, and we'll go through those listing. Item 10 will be new business, and first thing will be 10A, and this will be matters referred from the October the 6th, 2025 work session and October the 7th pre-council meeting. We have a couple of items on that. 10A1 is a request to modify speed limit on one street within the city of Perry, and that's Chief, but I think that Brooke, Mrs. Newby has a request on that one, so.
Yes, sir. I would just request that we move that to the 1021 meeting because it actually requires a code amendment to section 18-5 of the city's code dealing with speed limit restrictions relative to the city street.
Okay, so we'll have to put that as move it to our next meeting so we have all the information provided at that time.
Yes, sir.
10A2 is the 2026 benefit proposal. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. As you all remember, we had Mr. Williams, our consultant for benefits for the city here last night to discuss with you all a proposal and moving forward with a vendor for health insurance and other benefits that is different than the one we are currently using. With the proposal before you this evening, the city would transition from Cigna to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. And looking at what has been proposed, it would be a very beneficial move for a couple of reasons. The first would be essentially enhanced coverage for employees, but at the same cost. And then also cost savings for the city moving forward, primarily in the form of network coverage discounts that Blue Cross Blue Shield and Anthem have been able to negotiate with service providers and pharmacies and things like that. And I know in looking at it, one of the primary complaints we get about our benefits are the copays. And this actually provides employees with a lesser copay for their doctor's visits. So I know they'll all be very pleased about that. So administration would recommend moving forward with this pending city attorney's review of the actual contract.
Questions, council members? Thank you. 10B through 10F are special exception approvals. We will go through each of one of those and handle our motions that are presented by council on each one of those. 10G is the first reading of an ordinance to rezone property from OI, office institutional, to RM2, multifamily residential. Again, this property is located at 2002 Kings Chapel Road, and no action will be required this evening. 10H is a change order request for the entrance drive at Creekwood Park. Mr. McMurray.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Creekwood Park entrance has been going on for some time, as you're well aware of. There is a change order request from our contractor, Griffin Graydon, on this project. The short version of this is there is a median improvement that's required for that turn lane from Courtney Hodges, the GDOT route, onto Creekwood Drive. There is a light that is currently a city light managed by Georgia Power in that median. GDOT will not allow the pole to be, a light pole to be just removed and spliced together in the GDOT right-of-way. So after meeting Griffin Graydon, meeting with GDOT, they came back and said, we've got to require you to move that splice box outside of the right-of-way along Courtney Hodges. That requires a bore, in which this total comes to $31,775.25 that Griffin Graydon is requesting to remove this light. That being said, it was in their contract for pricing. I think they priced it at $250 to remove the light, so they missed the mark on the bid. As a city, we do not have to, or you would not have to approve this, and they would have to honor their contract. However, this could cause delays and other things, which ultimately may turn out having to pay for anyway. Staff's recommendation is being, to get this project moving, is to go ahead and approve the payment for $31,775.25.
Question, council.
Yes, yes, sir. Go ahead.
It was bid at $250 to remove the light pole. Pretty much they thought they would unbolt it, splice the wires back together. However, Department of Transportation would not allow that.
And so, in order for us to get this done, with the quickness this has been going on so long, we need to pay $31,000 to move it.
I guess the short order is either we're going to have to pay it or the contractor will have to pay it. If the contractor decides to fold and say, I'm not finishing the job and walk away, then we're going to have to hire somebody else and pay them to do it.
Well, can we get that $250 that they had set aside for that?
I think anything that may be supportive of any request, assistance for this project.
Reduce it a little bit.
Yeah. It's a reasonable request, I think.
I guess this is my question. Did the contractor not check with GDOT first or Georgia Power first? As to
Short answer is no.
My concern is that if they coming up with that amount, and since we feel like we have to pay it, how can we do half and half? You see, that's another thing that we reach out to them. It's their mistake, not ours. But yet still they want us to pay the full amount. So why not we can negotiate with them? Say now, since this is a problem, let's do it this way so we get the job done. We'll see how that goes.
I have a comment. I see in the letter from Griffin Grading, Georgia Power's quote for the cost of removal is $31,775.25. That's Griffin Grading's amount, what it would cost, or what Georgia Power said? GDOT.
Unfortunately,
Georgia Power.
Unfortunately, Griffin Graydon has to hire Georgia Power to move the light. So it's their light, they're responsible for it, and it will be their staff or contractor moving the light.
So if we say no, you gave a scenario where they could just fold and walk away from the project. Is that even allowed under the contract? I mean, I don't like being held, hostage like this.
I think the bigger issue is whether or not there was sufficient information in the bid documents and at the time that the bid was posted and then the bid documents received on our end and the award made, such that the contractor knew or should have known of this electrical requirement. I don't know that it's 100% clear on our end from our consulting engineer, Saunders Engineering, whether or not the contractor should have known. I've asked that question and we haven't gotten a response. So what council has to determine is whether or not you want to grant the change order so that the project moves forward and is completed, or if you wish to try and pursue any type of action under the contract, we can do so. But to Chad's point, if the contractor decides to walk away, they walk away, we're left with a park that remains unfinished, and then you're looking at protracted litigation to fight about the issue of whether or not this should or should not have been covered in the initial bid.
So in other words, the contractor, he can, or they can go ahead and complete the project, everything except for that part. They're not necessarily held to that because like Mr. McMurray said, they said, okay, we're $250 to remove the light pole, splice the wires together, and that's all that's required. So they could go ahead and finish everything else that's in the contract except for this part, and then we're left with the bill to do the boring under and all and move the splice box.
I'm not sure that that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I can take that question or comment there.
Okay, thank you.
So they cannot complete the job without the pole being relocated.
What job?
The project, the full project. The reason why is the median turn is not only a requirement of GDOT before that entrance can be open, but it's also the pole has to be removed to extend that median, which is required by GDOT. So they technically can't finish the project, which is a hindrance. Now, I think Brooks' point is very well taken, that we don't know exactly how it was spelled out in the contract, but I do know that it was required that it's the contractor's responsibility to remove the poles, and there were multiple poles. This, in our mind, counts as one, even though Saunders has not come back with a description for what that is. But we know that they had $250 in the bid amount for pole removal.
Since this has been going on for months and months and months and months, it needs to come to its conclusion in order to get this done.
If I may too, following up on Ms. Newby's comments, looking at the preponderance of evidence, as Ms. Newby might say, it does appear that this was just an honest mistake. Looking at it, it appears that the engineer kind of missed it, the contractor missed it, and that the contractor was acting in good faith when they put together their costs and then working to complete the project and everything. And I think, particularly given the amount of work that this contractor does for the city and all that, it was an honest mistake, and it would behoove the city to provide the additional funds to get the project completed.
Where would the point come from?
This is SPLOST. This will be SPLOST 24.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Mr. McMurray. 10I is the Remington Chase Master Meter Funding Assistance. Mr. McMurray?
Thank you, Mayor. So with this project, Remington Chase, of course, is our second phase of the subdivision development along Gurr Road and Highway 341. This is a request for the master meter funding. As you know, the city requires looping of subdivisions where we have 2 points of connection. Remington Chase had one. The new phase gets the second loop. The master meter is the meter that the city uses or the county uses to bill the city for water that we're purchasing from the county. So it's not uncommon for developers to ask for assistance for the cost of that meter in the vault. Staff has reviewed this request. The total was the full package of parts and labor and installation, so the request we received was $117,750. I had the water department review the cost of the meter and the vault. It came back with confirming that $39,000 is the approximate cost if we purchase the meters ourselves. And so with our review, we recommend moving forward with $39,000.
Questions, council members?
We would have to install them ourselves, right?
No, sir. The agreement would be, and we'd certainly spell that out. The agreement is they cover cost and labor and other odds and ends, materials, supplies that they need. We would be furnishing the cost of that meter and vault.
Thank you.
And that becomes part of our system anyway, doesn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
So who would come up with the rest of the other, what is it, 40,000 or so?
That would be on the developer.
Thank you.
It would be a significantly more than 40,000, probably closer to 90,000, so that they will have to cover. Okay. 10J is Main Street Realignment Funding Assistance, Mr. McMurray.
So Griffin Graydon had another request that came to us here about the same time. Main Street has been complete for a while now. Main Street is, we're talking about our park, our Legacy Park, and that turn there in the park with the landscaping. Griffin Graydon came to me and said, hey, we missed some asphalt tickets. And in this justification request, they submitted a request for not only asphalt but pavement markings, which were required by GDOT, unbeknownst to them. After reviewing, our consultant Saunders and staff also reviewed the request for asphalt tickets. We could not confirm that the asphalt tickets were for the city of Perry. They were not stamped properly with the project. And we do not agree with the request for asphalt tickets. However, it was feasible to understand the request for GDOT pavement markings. So all the striping you see in the GDOT right-of-way was going to have to be done regardless. So we found that the $27,762.50 is appropriate. The asphalt remainder was $38,479.10. We could not prove. So the recommendation of the total request. Sorry, right here. Follow along here. The recommendation for approval is the $27,762.50 for pavement marking only. Staff would recommend approving that portion.
Okay. Questions, council members?
If I understood correctly, Mr. McMurray, and that would have happened regardless, right?
Yes, and to recap, the point I would also like to make is this project's complete, and this is coming back after the fact, asking for money, and council does not have to approve it, but good faith measure, that would be the recommendation.
But you're not recommending the other, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you, Ms. McMurray. Item 10K is the CDL School LLC agreement regarding the CDL training. Mr. Shoemake?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At a previous meeting, Council had approved the rental contract with the Georgia National Fairgrounds to use the parking lot for a driving portion of the city-hosted CDL course. Tonight, we have the agreement with the CDL school for your consideration, which outlines the fees and terms related to having the school conduct classroom and driving range instructions. And this has been reviewed and approved by Ms. Newby. In addition to the agreement with the CDL school, would like to conform the approval to utilize city vehicles to conduct the field and range portion of the course. Using of our vehicle saves the city from any rental fees and also the CDL school.
Questions, council? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Item 10I, Census and Spectrum Lease Renewal. Mr. Shoemake?
The city utilizes software census for meter reading efforts with our utility division of Public Works. In order for this census tower to transmit readings, we have to lease and utilize license rights from the Federal Communication Commission. This contract has been reviewed by the city attorney, and it's just a renewal to the existing agreement. There's no additional cost to the city, and the fees are collected by the census through ongoing fees the city pays for the use of the equipment.
Okay. Questions, council, on this lease renewal? Thank you. Item 10M is regulator station valve installation, Mr. Shoemate.
All right. Mayor and council, in 2022, the Public Service Commission conducted a routine inspection of the city's natural gas system. Operations and compliance. The Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, Code 49, includes a regulation which requires each regulator station to have a valve located at a sufficient distance from the station so it can be operated during an emergency that might prevent access to the station. The city has 8 stations that are in non-compliance at this time, and out of the 17 total we have. The Public Works and ESG operations would like your approval to complete the first 2 of the priority stations this fiscal year. The Airport Road Station, which is quoted at $33,602, and the Publix Entrance Station at $32,205 for your approval tonight. And additional SAP Engineering would have a $7,000 fee associated with this for management and the documentations to the PSC.
Question I had, Mr. Smith, was why were those not gone? Why didn't they go to bid? Is it a specialized type of work that needs to be done on the gas line, or?
I believe quotes were received.
There was quotes, and under this, SAP Engineering would actually put out and manage the quotes and all on that for that $7,000 fee.
They did not meet the threshold required to go out to formal bid.
Hmm?
They did not meet the threshold required to go out to formal bid.
Okay. So they're professional services then.
Yes.
So Jack SAP Engineering is professional services who usually deals with the gas line. I think relative to the specific work that's being required by the Public Service Commission, it's determined or it's deemed a sole source vendor for us because I think it's CNH Gas, is that right?
Yes, CNH Gas.
That has to do the work through ESG. Usually, it's my understanding that ESG, I think, oversees that type of work whenever we have to source that out. And there's only that one vendor that can do that.
Given my experience with Midstate, I assume that that's what it was because we can't find people that can do that work either, but I was just curious, and so that makes sense to me as to what the cost is. So.
What would be the funding source on this?
It'd be the Natural Gas Fund, 515.
And that's budgeted, no impact or increases necessary, right?
No, sir.
Good. Thank you.
So how are these found to be not in compliance?
It was a routine inspection back in 2022 by the Public Service Commission.
PSC. Okay.
Yeah.
This is one of those unfunded mandates from a state regulatory agency. It's my understanding that when they were installed, they were definitely in compliance, and then there were some new regulations that came out relative to the safety aspect of the valve being a certain proximity and all that stuff.
Okay.
So we're going to go through a process of phasing in replacement of those valves, and otherwise we could be hit with a consent order if we don't take care of that.
Yeah.
So
this definitely needs to be taken care of.
we have to do it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
10N is agency subscription agreement with AT&T Enterprises. Chief?
Mayor and council, it was recently brought to our attention during the recent audit. We have AT&T FirstNet phones and emergency services throughout the community. Our agreement and our prices are based off of the Georgia Technology Fund or Foundation. And we did not have an agreement listed in our paperwork showing that. So this is just some housekeeping. There's no additional funding from what we already pay.
Okay. Questions, council? Thank you. 10-0, the Georgia Economic Placemaking Collaborative Grant Agreement. Ms. Hartley?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, you may recall that we are a part of a 2-year cohort program through the Georgia Economic Placemaking Collaborative with the Georgia Cities Foundation. As a first-year community, this is a first-year grant for a reimbursable grant for $500 with a 20% match from the city or the host organization. That match would come from the Main Street Advisory Board. It would be this project that we've identified is for a phase 2 improvement along the Ball Street alley that the Main Street Advisory Board has already addressed in the past. So this agreement has been reviewed by the city's attorney's office, and it's for you all for approval tonight.
Questions, council? Thank you, Ms. Hartley.
Thank you.
Okay. 11 through 17 are standard items. Council members, do you have any questions or concerns relative to this agenda for our regular meeting tonight? Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll call your attention back to our pre-council meeting. Item 5 are council member items. Ms. Bynum Grace? Mr. Jones? Dr. Albritton? Mayor Pro Tem?
No, sir.
Mr. Peterson? Reverend King? Anything? Mr. Smith? Anything? Ms. Newby, anything for this evening? Okay. There, as I understand it, there is no requirement for an executive session at this time, so council members, if there's nothing else to come before us, I will entertain a motion to adjourn until 6 o'clock. Motion is second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We do stand adjourned until 6 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. At this time, I will call the regular council meeting for the Perry City Council for Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025, to order. We do have a quorum this evening. Item 3 on our agenda this evening is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. This evening, Councilmember Peterson will lead us in the invocation, and Ms. Bynum Grace will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, would you please stand at this time?
And if you will pray with me. Our Father, this is a day that you have made, and we rejoice in it. We thank you for all that you've done in the whole world today, and we ask you to be a part of this meeting, to lead us and to guide us. We're grateful that you have not given us a spirit of fear or timidity, but one of power and love and sound mind, and how we need that tonight as we consider many decisions that are before us. So we thank you for your presence and your power that we are looking forward to experiencing this evening. We pray for the welfare of our city. We pray for the welfare of this meeting. I thank you for our council here, for the staff that we serve, and tonight on his birthday we thank you for our mayor and pray for blessing on him on this special day. So lead our time tonight. We give you great praise that you are the sovereign God of the universe, and that you will lead our time tonight. In the name of the Lord Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, council members. Item 4 on our agenda are citizens with input relative to agenda items, except those that will be conducted in the public hearing, where you'll have your opportunity at that point in time to express your feelings. So is there any citizens here that would like to address mayor and council relative to agenda items that will be addressed this evening? Yes, sir. If you'll come forward and give us your name and address, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening. James Aston, 143 Silverside, the Greystone Perry Division subdivision. And I'm here in reference to item 8, the unfinished business stormwater pond, that considerations, that there are recommendations being made to you. And I would recommend that that the city take over the pond. When all of the people who were buying homes in that area, they felt that that was going to be a retention pond and that it was going to be turned over, and we had no idea of taking it over for ourselves. We truly, right now as it is, I'm the president of the HOA, and right now I'm looking at the people, and when the last time we started this, they're saying, we don't want to increase, we want to decrease if possible. And to take that over, and the liabilities would be a significant burden, especially since some of our people are on fixed incomes, and that would be significant. So I would ask that the city take over it. We will do what we can to help you. In addition, in the same area, I would also ask that the city look into installing some kind of grates on the inlets and the exits of the retention system, because on the inlets they are large enough that small animals, some of our dogs and stuff, could go after them, and I think even some of our younger children, if they're not careful, if their mommies and daddies aren't watching them, they might follow something down there. On the other side, they are large enough that animals and even people could get caught in. So I would ask that the city consider some kind of grate system for that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address mayor and council at this time? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Maggie Schuyler, President and CEO of the Perry Area Chamber of Commerce. I would just like to bring to your attention that this evening we do have a couple of our Perry Youth Leadership students who are here as part of our program. And for those of you who don't know, Perry Youth Leadership is made up of current juniors at Perry High School, Veterans High School, and the Westfield School. And as part of our program, we do require them to come either to a city council and or a county commissioner meeting to understand what happens at these meetings and the importance of being involved in the community and being knowledgeable. So this evening, we do have a couple of our PYL students here. They are learning about what all you guys do, what the purpose is of city council and the impacts that you all make, as well as what the impacts of the community make. And then they will be visiting you guys on October the 21st, where they will actually sit in as the city council and they will be able to talk to you guys. So if you would let me help recognize our PYL students. PYL students, stand up, please. I know they hate this, as you can tell. These are some of our current PYL students who are here tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. I know it's a requirement, but we'll try to make this a little interesting for you this evening. Is there anyone else that would like to address Mayor and Council at this time? Thank you. Item 5 are recognitions and presentations. Item 5A is the introduction of a new hire, Police Officer Jonathan Lopez. Chief?
Mayor and Council, I'm happy to introduce our newest police officer, Jonathan Lopez. He's a graduate of Houston County High School and later on was enlisted in and currently serves in the North Carolina Army National Guard, where he serves as a firefighter. We kind of brought him over to the right side of things. But, you know, so Chief Parker, stay away. Yeah, okay. But he has moved back to Houston County. His experience in North Carolina, we believe, is going to bring great use here in town. He starts tomorrow night with his field training here at the Police Department in Perry. Outside of work, Jonathan enjoys playing golf, baseball, traveling, and reading to expand his knowledge and skills. So we're happy to have him, and we believe he's going to have a great career here at Perry.
Super. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. Thank you, Chief. Item 5B is the City of Perry Water First redesignation. Ms. Nottingham?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to bring to your attention that we became a Water First designated community 2020. And I want to thank Mr. Smith for allowing me to take on this task because it was time to renew. And I had a lot of questions, a lot of things to research, and he gave me a good group as a team, Chad McMurrian, Ansley White, Mr. Shoemaker, and I had a lot of questions for them, and we was able to complete this by the deadline, before the deadline, which is December 31st, and we are recognized, and they're asking us to come to Atlanta to celebrate this redesignation for the city of Perry.
Wonderful. I understand you're going to Atlanta to accept that later on this month?
October the 28th.
Yes, that's great. I'm glad that we're getting that acknowledgement, but I also like to thank you for all of the hard work that you did in working through the state to get this acknowledgement. So thank you again for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Questions, Council? Item 5C are the special events applications. 5C1 is the Family RV Association Community Concert to be held on March the 19th, 2026 from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in downtown Perry. Ms. Hartley?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is a request from the Family RV Association, Visit Perry, and the Perry Main Street Advisory Board to host a community concert in downtown, as the date was mentioned, in March of 2026. This was a community concert that we did host last year as well, and we had a lot of favorable feedback from our restaurants and merchants that participated with pop-ups and expanded service hours that evening. So we are wanting to host the same type of community concert again with a little bit of an edited and abbreviated footprint, this time taking it to the 800 and 900 blocks of Carroll, and then Ball Street between Commerce and Main Street, leaving out the Jernigan Street road closures this year. The city services that are asked for and requested is road closure request and support from the police department, the city's Food Truck Friday stage on the lawn, electricity, trash receptacles, the digital sign to notify people of the road closures beforehand, and then the fire department's support for filling the barricades to support those road closures as well. The application was sent to all department heads, and no concerns were submitted back. And then the organizer is aware of potential service fees affiliated with road closures and or sanitation support. So this is the application for the FRVA community concert.
Questions, council members, relative to the concert? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the concert as outlined by Ms. Hartley. Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the concert request was approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5C2 is Sweet Evelyn's Watch Party on October the 20th, 2025 from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Ms. Hartley?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request submitted by Sweet Evelyn's and the business owner Corey Jones to host a watch party of Food Network's Halloween Baking Championships on October 20th. The business owner has been competing in this series this year and would like to host a watch party here with his local downtown neighbors and community. There's no road closures requested. There's just the request of the use of the City Hall lawn and electricity from the City Hall area. There were no feedbacks or comments or concerns from department heads.
Questions, council members? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the watch party as outlined for October the 20th. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the request was approved unanimously.
Yes, sir.
Item 5C3 is the 37th Annual Dogwood Festival on Saturday, April the 11th, 2026, and Sunday, April the 12th, 2026. Ms. Hartley?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request to host the 37th Annual Perry Dogwood Festival by the Perry Area Chamber of Commerce, and they do have representatives here tonight if you have specific questions about their application or the event itself. But there are several city services requested for this two-day event throughout downtown. Some of the new requests this year are 14 event banners to be placed on the downtown banner poles and to be hung up and taken down by Public Works, 1 event banner to be placed at the intersection of Carroll and Ball Street, the traditional request of the Food Truck Friday stage with the light bar steps and shade canopy to be placed on the City Hall lawn, and as well as the electrical that's available on the City Hall lawn, road closure support for the 2 days of the event, fire department support for portable light towers and first aid services, sanitation services from Public Works and Solid Waste Department, and then digital traffic signs to notify people of the road closures beforehand, bleachers to be delivered from the Public Works Department to be placed on the City Hall lawn for the entertainment stage, and then picnic tables to be placed on the 800 block of Carroll Street for attendees to use. We did receive some feedback and recommendations from the various departments that are involved in this event. The Public Works staff does recommend denial of the request for the bleachers to be placed on the City Hall lawn due to the labor burden of the task of the department. The fire department and police department did not have any requests or objections to the application, as it is all of those requests are historical requests.
Mr. Smith, the administration had some comments that they wanted to add.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We're always very cognizant of the burden placed on our city departments in putting on special events. We have a lot of special events, so our Public Works, public safety folks are often working those, and it takes a lot to put a lot of that stuff on. So when we receive requests that may go above and beyond what they've traditionally done, we take a good look at those. And as you heard from Ms. Hartley here, the bleachers, there's really no safe way to get the bleachers downtown from our ball fields, so we would concur in recommending denial of that portion of the application. Also, to the banners, the putting up of the banners on the light poles, and that's just a very burdensome process to switch those out. And then also the banner across Carroll Street, that has been denied in the past by this body, and we would recommend following along with that precedent that was set and denying that as well.
Okay. Questions, council members? Yes, sir.
I can understand some of the denials as being burdensome. I really would wish, and I don't know who would be appropriate, but to revisit this policy of no banner across Carroll Street. And it seems like in my earlier days, I saw that. I think there really lends an atmosphere of expectation and festivity to that. I don't have a recommendation for what kind of criteria that we would want to use for that, but I think especially in this is one of our biggest events of the city, and it's with our chamber, which is a city partner. I mean, there's probably some other Halloween, other calendar events, not Halloween, but I was thinking Christmas. I think, the Juneteenth festival that we have. Some of these things are I don't know, just lends a great expectation. So I don't know who we would talk to, Mr. Smith, about coming up with some sort of policy. And I don't mean to having these banners up even monthly. That would be a lot, but I think there are some things that really probably might warrant a revisit of that if we could.
My question would be, would there be a way to, I guess, confine that to certain events without setting a precedent that allows anyone to do this all the time? That would be my question, but otherwise I agree with you, Mr. Peterson.
That's what's basically led to the saying we're not going to put it up, because we had allowed it for a couple of events, and then it just snowballed that everybody that was at the fairgrounds wanted to put up a banner across the road and those type of things, and it came unwieldy at the time. But we're willing to relook at those policies, and Mr. Smith will take it on from the administrative side to look at that.
Well, and I would say that it seems like maybe we could come up with a criteria that would prevent that very kind of thing that Mr. Jones said. So. Thank you.
We'll look at that. Other comments?
I echo Councilmember Peterson's comments. I don't care for and I disagree with the blanket denial on the banners. I think it does lend an air of festivity for the whatever event is occurring downtown. And I do think that each request should come before this body, whatever the occasion is. I don't think it should be approved unanimously. I think each request should come before us. So is there a way are we going to vote on this tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, the city policy is we don't allow it. So I would recommend that you stay with city policy until we rewrite it.
Is there a way to make a motion for the application request with certain exceptions?
Yeah, make a motion, anything you want to.
Okay.
Well, before that, I'd like to say, Ms. Baumgray and I, we've been here for a minute, and the consideration is that we understand what's happening, but the major point is that when the city come to a point where we weren't going to discriminate against no one, so one of the problems that we start having is that everything snowball, and sometimes people will say certain things that you allow some people have it, don't have nobody else to have it, and so as going by what Mr. Jones said, which was true, we come to the point that we need not let this go any farther. I can understand Mr. Peterson, I can understand Mr. Moody, but we don't want to create the entity where we give certain stipulation to certain people to have it, and we don't have stipulation for everybody to have it. So we need to be very careful, and that, I think if we're gonna bring this back, they just need to look in it, and then they bring it back to us, and we can make a decision what we're gonna do. That's how I feel.
I mean, I just add one. My intent with my remarks earlier were not to try to force this on the decision for this. That the policy is what it is right now. But my intent was more going forward, where we have the time to really develop a criteria that may work.
Yeah, and I think
Thank you.
that we're willing to do that, and Mr. King's comments are right on, that we need to look at that criteria and make sure that we treat everybody equitably.
By treating everyone equitably, though, as Reverend King pointed out, it's a kind of a tricky situation, because there may be certain groups that through the freedom of speech they request, and so I see the point. I see the point. We don't want to get in a situation where we might put ourselves in a position to be in litigation. However, this is the Dogwood Festival, this is the 37th year, and anyway, I'm not happy with the current city policy that's in place right now.
We have said we will address it. We will.
Okay.
Council members, at this time, is there any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion that outlines your desires on the request for the 37th Dogwood Festival. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the application submitted, with the exception of the bleachers, that we do not have the bleachers moved to the City Hall lawn.
Is there a second?
Might amend that to just say we approve this application with the restrictions that Mr. Smith has outlined at this time.
What are those restrictions?
Let's see, that would be no bleachers. There would be no banners on the light poles up and down Carroll Street, as well as a banner across Carroll Street. I think that was it, correct?
Yes.
So,
A second.
well, do you accept the motion? Your motion's on the table. He's coming with a second that you did not get a second to your motion.
So if I don't get a second to my motion dies.
Your motion's died.
Okay.
Do you accept Mr. Peterson's second with the conditions he's placed on it?
No.
Okay. So the motion is died. So do I have another motion to move forward with?
I'll make a motion. You want him to do it?
I don't care who does
Go
it.
ahead.
Give Mr. Peterson.
I'm sorry.
His motion died. He did not have a second. He didn't accept your conditions. So,
Well, I've just made a motion, and we have a second. Why are we not voting on that? That
my
would seem.
understanding was that you would second his motion with conditions, and he didn't accept
Oh,
those. So what I need now is a motion from you that outlines what
All right.
you just said.
Okay. I would make a motion that we would accept the application for the Dogwood Festival with the conditions outlined by Mr. Smith, that there would be no bleachers, no banners on light poles, or banner across Carroll Street.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed, please let the record show it was 5-1 approval.
And with the
As a-
understanding that we are going forward, going to revisit this policy and see how it can be amended for next year in the future, et cetera.
That was the
Yes.
commitment.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Item 5. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everybody. I would just like to make a request that if the policy is reviewed and there is a new policy put in place, if it is prior to the Dogwood Festival, which is on April 11th and 12th, to please notify us at the chamber so that we would be able to bring forth a new special events or new application for that banner. So I would like to make that request that I be notified as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5C4 is the Dogwood Festival 5K run on April the 11th, 2026. Chief?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, as most of you know, for years, the Dogwood Festival had a 5K race. It started in downtown on Main Street. And several years ago, that event stopped. The chamber has approached about starting that event, but they wanted to change it a little bit and starting at the Spring Hill School near the Board of Education. They had the Board of Education's permission to use their facility and basically come out of Beckham Circle on the Forest Hill and transition over to Hillcrest and eventually coming over to Ball Street, going near Animal Control, making a U-turn and coming back up Ball Street to Gilmer, eventually coming right back to Spring Hill School. We looked at several courses. We think this is a fair course that we can provide protection for, and they will pay for the officers who are working this event.
Okay. Questions, council members?
I think that's good. I just say good.
Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the Dogwood Festival 5K as outlined by Chief Everidge.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the application was approved unanimously. Thank you, Chief. 5D is the Southern Sky Fireworks Contract Approval. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Following up on a very successful buzzer drop this past year, where the city first did fireworks at the buzzer drop, the city is again looking to have fireworks when the clock strikes midnight, as they say. You have before you, for your consideration, a contract with Southern Sky Fireworks to provide that service to the city. The amount of the contract is $5,000, and it will come from hotel motel tax.
Okay. Questions, council members?
I just have a comment, sir. That's actually a pretty good price. I mean, with inflation and the way everything costs, I mean, to put on, back when I used to put on a fireworks display in my yard, I easily spend $800, and and that was 20 years ago. So this is actually a pretty good price, and they do a great job too. So,
okay. Other questions or comments? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract as outlined by Mr. Smith. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the contract was approved unanimously. Item 6 is a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide any interested parties with the opportunity to express their views and concerns in accordance with OCGA Section 36-66-4. This public hearing is now open. Item 6A is a special exception request. It's SUSE 0121 2025. The applicant is Brandy Dent, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 408 Haddenham Court. The tax map number is 0P0160056000. Mrs. Carson?
Thank you so much, Mayor. Yes, sir. As stated, this is a special exception request for a short-term residential rental located at 408 Haddenham Court. This is in the Sutton Place subdivision off of Langston Road. The parcel is zoned as R2 single-family residential and is used as such. Ms. Dent has owned the home since it was built in 2011. She is requesting to offer the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home as a short-term residential rental for up to 8 guests with a maximum of 2 vehicles. The premises did pass all inspections for minimum compliance with health and safety standards. It is surrounded on all sides by R2 single-family residential and used as such, with the exception to property to the west that is vacant. There are no known covenants or restrictions on the property. It's located in a suburban residential character area according to the Joint 22 Comprehensive Plan. that does call for a mix of housing types and offerings within a residential area. There are no expected utility, noise, pedestrian, or vehicular traffic or odor pollution increase due to people being in the home on a shorter term basis. It's still being used as a dwelling unit, just with more frequent visitors. It is compatible with surrounding homes in the area, and the overall use of the parcel is not changing. A representative is present to answer any questions. The Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Questions, council, relative to this special exception for short-term rental? Thank you, Ms. Carson.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Thank you. Item 6B is a special exception request. It's SUSE 0122-2025. The applicant is Houston County Habitat for Humanity. They're requesting a special exception to reduce minimum house size. The property is located at 1113 Jewel Street, or Drive, I'm sorry. Tax map number is 0P0300014000. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir. This is a special exception request to reduce the minimum square footage for a house at 1113 Jewel Drive. The Houston County Habitat for Humanity invests in older neighborhoods here in the city of Perry, and a lot of those neighborhoods have a character where the existing homes in the neighborhood are smaller than what our minimum house size requires. And so that, coupled with the fact that Habitat's square footage sizes for their homes do not meet that minimum house size requirement. Their largest home footprint is 1,100 square feet for a 4-bedroom home. They are asking that we consider their application to build a smaller home for this lot size. This property is in a traditional neighborhood character area according to the 2022 Joint Comprehensive Plan. This area consists of older homes that are within walking distance of amenities. But neighborhoods like this also often require revitalization to help maintain the neighborhood stability. So we are, houses in the vicinity of this parcel range from just over 770 square feet up to 1,200 square feet. So building a home that meets the current minimums would actually create a home that does not blend well with the existing character in the neighborhood. There was no feedback from surrounding residents on this application, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Questions, council members?
Yes, sir. What was next to the last sentence you said about fitting in with the character of the neighborhood?
That the existing homes on Jewel Drive range from 770 square feet up to 1,200 square feet.
And what was the next sentence?
Building a house size that meets our minimum of 1,500 square feet would create a home that doesn't fit the current character in the neighborhood.
Okay, but this one would?
If they were to build a smaller home, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Thank you, Ms. Carson.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this application? Yes, sir. If you'd come forward and give us your name and address, please.
I'm Bill Goggin. I'm the director of Houston County Habitat for Humanity. I live at 317 Old Perry Road in Bon Air, Georgia. I don't have a lot to add to the report. I think I'll just answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Anyone to speak in opposition? Thank you. Item 6C is a special exception, SUSE 0133, 2025. The applicant is Misty Renna. Is it Renna?
Rena, yes, sir. Rena, yes, sir.
Okay. Requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 603 Woodland Drive. The tax map number is 0P0110034000. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is another special exception request for a short-term residential rental. This home is located in the Brookwood subdivision just off of Tucker Road. It is zoned as R1 single family residential and is used as such. The home was built in 1950 and has been owned by Mr. and Mrs. Renna since earlier this year. She is requesting a special exception to offer the entire 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home as a short-term residential rental property. Capacity would be limited up to 5 guests, and with a maximum of 2 vehicles. I'm sorry, I have it misprinted here on my report. Please forgive me. The premises did pass all minimum health and safety standards in the inspection. It is surrounded by R1 single-family residential on all sides and used as such. There are no known covenants or restrictions on this property. It is in a traditional neighborhood character area. According to the Joint 2022 Joint Comprehensive Plan, which calls for the reuse and revitalization of infill properties that may be aging. There are no expected utility noise, pedestrian, or vehicular traffic increases or odor pollution expected due to people being in the home on a shorter term basis. It is compatible with surrounding homes in the area, and the overall use of the parcel is not changing. There was no feedback from residents concerning this application, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Questions, council members? Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application this evening? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of the application? Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Thank you. Item 6D is a special exception request, SUSE 0135-2025. The applicant is Jody Ovali, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 1614 Marshall Circle. The tax map number is 0P0160056000. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is another of our special exception requests. Ms. Ovalle is requesting to use 1614 Marshall Circle as a short-term residential rental. This is in the Marshall subdivision built in 1967. She has owned the home since 2024. She's proposing to offer the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for a short-term rental for a maximum of 7 occupants. It would be for up to 4 vehicles. There is appropriate parking available on the parcel. The home was inspected for compliance with minimum health and safety requirements and did pass that inspection. There are no known covenants or restrictions on the parcel. On the property, it is zoned R1 single family residential and surrounded by R1 single family residential and is used as such. It is in a traditional neighborhood character area in the Joint 2022 Comprehensive Plan, which does call for appropriately scaled infill development that revitalizes housing supply in these areas. This would not negatively impact surrounding properties as the main use of the parcel remains as a single-family residence. It will just have different occupants on a more frequent basis, but occupants are required to follow all city codes related to noise, light, smoke, and odor. We did have some general feedback around this application about the concern for short-term rentals within a certain distance of the school. So the Planning Commission is reviewing that recommendation or that feedback that we received from the residents to see if there's some type of policy that we may be able to implement and to look and see into what other cities are doing concerning short-term residential rentals within walking distance of schools. Other than that, there was no feedback directly related to this application, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Questions, council?
I have a comment, Mayor. I noticed from the minutes from the Planning Commission that there were some concerns from the community about saturation. From my experience on the Planning Commission, it seems like around 2021, 2022, 2023 timeframe, there was a lot of applications for short-term rentals. Council placed a moratorium on short-term rentals and tasked the Community Development Department as well as Planning Commission, who then tasked Planning Commission to come up with a plan, and which we did. We came up with, among other restrictions, the 1,000-foot buffer. Some residents thought that was too strict. Some thought it wasn't strict enough. But we feel like we reached a happy medium with that. We couldn't please everyone. Council couldn't please everyone. But that's as y'all know, that's the plan that community development came up with, which this body approved. So I understand. I 100% get the concerns of the community, property rights, but that I understand the property rights of the applicant. I also understand the property rights of the neighbors too. So it's a tough call to make. So, but I just wanted to let our residents know we are fully aware of all the benefits and implications and everything involved with this process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Thank you. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application? Thank you. Is there anyone that'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone here that would like to speak in opposition? Thank you. Item 6C is a special exception request. It's SUSE 0142-2025. The applicant is Mitchell Ferroni, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 314 Grayton Way, tax map number 0P0590133000. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is another special exception request. This is the last one of the evening. And I will give an update in future meetings just to show you where we are overall for the number of special exceptions that are present in the city. We do keep a running map of that so residents can see where they are and they can see the 1,000-foot buffer between them as well. So that is just an aside for you to keep in mind. So this one is located at 314 Grayton Way in the Washington Place subdivision. This home was built in 2018. It has been owned by Mr. Ferrone since 2022. He is proposing to use the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home for a short-term residential rental for up to 6 occupants with a maximum of 2 vehicles. The premises did pass inspections for compliance with minimum health and safety requirements. There are no known covenants or restrictions on the property. It is also in a suburban residential character area zoned as PUD and used and surrounded by PUD on all sides except just to the north, which I believe is RAG. That is county property, so I'm not certain of the zoning right offhand. The Joint 22 Comprehensive Plan calls for a mix of housing offerings and types. The dwelling maintains its use as a single-family home. The use as a short-term rental just provides a more flexible living arrangement for people who may be visiting the city for one intent or another. There was no direct feedback concerning this application. The Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted, and I welcome all questions.
Questions, council members, relative to this application? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone there this evening who would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone that would like to address council in favor of this application? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Anyone here in opposition to the application? Thank you. Item 6F is a rezoning request. It's RZNE 0137, 2025. The applicant is Mr. Matt Widener of Widener Associates Incorporated. Request the rezoning of property from OI, Office Institutional, to RM2, Multifamily Residential. The property is located at 2002 Kings Chapel Road. The tax map number is 0P44B0034000. Ms. Carson?
This is the last time I'll bother you for tonight.
You're not bothering us. This is city business.
So this is a rezoning request from Mr. Matt Widener for 2002 Kings Chapel Road. This property is located across from the soccer fields at Rozier Park and from the county government facilities that are located on Kings Chapel Road. The parcel is vacant as far as we can tell and has been vacant for the life of the parcel. It's currently zoned as office institutional, and he is applying for RM2 multifamily residential. This is the third parcel of a previously proposed development. The two parcels to the east and bordering this one to the north are the parcels that have already been rezoned as RM2 multifamily residential, and so this would just be completing their application. This one was not on the original application, but it was shown in the concept design that you all reviewed in your previous meetings. So surrounding zoning and land use to the north is RM2 single multifamily residential. It is vacant as it was recently rezoned. To the south is governmental use, that is the park and government facilities. To the east is RM2 multifamily residential that was rezoned recently and is vacant. To the west is R2 single family residential, and that is vacant, and then a single family residence on another parcel. The applicant is not aware of any covenants or restrictions on the property and is applying for the multifamily residential zoning for a development with up to 7 units per building. The parcel is in a suburban residential character area, which calls for a variety of housing types and uses. The proposed zoning is similar to existing zoning patterns in the area, and it actually lowers the number of units allowed compared to the current zoning of office institutional. Office institutional allows up to 10 dwelling units, 10 dwellings per unit. RM2 allows up to 7 dwellings per unit. So it would actually lower the density that's available on those parcels. The development would still have to meet all zoning standards for multifamily residential. This development has also been prohibited from having access to Coventry Court as a part of the conditions on the previous approval. There was no feedback on this application during the Planning Commission meeting, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval as submitted.
Okay. Questions, council members? Thank you. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this application? Yes, sir. If you'd come forward and give us your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Matt Widener, 793 Poplar Street. I think we've covered a lot of the details previously of the conceptual design and the plan to move forward with this. We think it's a great location, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, but we're excited about the project and ready to move forward.
Okay. Questions, council? Thank you. Yes, sir.
When you originally brought the original proposal on the part that's marked on this map is OI. You had some design features that gave the appearance of like townhomes. I know they're not townhomes, they're rental properties, but not to be owned. But are you still using that as your concept? Because I thought that was a really good selling point to the project.
Yeah, that's right. We would like to keep it with not such an institutional apartment complex feel. We want to give it a neighborhood feel with a rhythm and character of the facades of each of those buildings. We have outlined 3 different building types that can be really changed around and kind of manipulated with colors and different ornamentation that will make it seem a little less stale, I guess, a little bit more vibrant.
I understand, yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Where would your ingress and egress be?
We have it off of Gray Road and
Okay.
King's Chapel.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone opposed this evening? Thank you. This public hearing is now closed. Item 7 on our agenda is a review of the minutes. Excuse me. 7A, council members, you've been provided with the minutes from the September the 15th, 2025 work session, the September the 16th, 2025 pre-council meeting, and the September the 16th, 2025 regular meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. There's a motion and a second. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes that you would like to make to these minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate approval by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the minutes were approved unanimously. Item 8 is unfinished business. 8A is stormwater pond at Greystone subdivision recommendations. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Following up on the gentleman's comments at the beginning of the meeting and various discussions that this body's had over the past couple of months, you have in your board pack a recommendation to move forward with the Greystone Pond. As part of that recommendation, the city would take ownership of the pond. They would take ownership of the pond as green space, not a stormwater pond. And then as green space, the area will be generally maintained as necessary for maintenance of the stormwater structures only. So as green space, it'd basically be left to go natural. A couple of times a year, more than likely, Public Works would come in there and cut so that our stormwater inspectors and maintenance folks could access the stormwater structures, make sure that stormwater is still able to be conveyed through that. You know, what you would be accepting should you choose to go with the recommendation from administration is basically a glorified ditch. It is accepting the stormwater from the subdivision. That subdivision stormwater is being conveyed to the new regional pond off of Langston Road. So you have the recommendation. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions, council members? Yes, sir.
I would just like to confirm, because one of their issues is the maintenance of the vegetation that backs up to everyone's home around that whole pond, that we will be taking steps to cut that back to maintain that, the borders around their fences. It's I think most every home has a fence around that pond, but it's grown up fairly significantly. I think that's what the chairman here was speaking about when he talked about, you know, there's animals there. I can't imagine what the insects might be like, but it really needs to be maintained. So that is part of our deal here, right?
It's nature, you know, animals and insects, part of nature. No, you know, going back on what I mentioned relative to the maintenance, the way the pond is designed, the bottom's probably going to be wet a lot of the time. So the access to the stormwater structures that are generally in the corners would need to be provided around the perimeter, basically right behind the property fence lines. So we would envision that the general maintenance to be completed for access would occur in that general area So that should hopefully resolve some of the issues with encroachment from animals or foliage or whatever coming from the primary area. Also, too, in order to basically cut down on unwanted growth, if you will, we would plant trees in that area, and that would allow them to grow up and not have other unwanted vegetation growing in the area.
I appreciate that. I like your plan.
Yes.
Just as a comment on that about the nature and stuff, right across the road in the forest.
Lake Forest.
Lake Forest subdivision, there was an alligator in their retention pond area, and we have had snakes in our area. So
It's Houston County, man.
Yeah.
I understand.
We'll take that into consideration. Thank you. I hope we don't have any alligators in there. Yeah. So, council members, you've heard the recommendation from administration. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendation as outlined.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the stormwater pond acquisition was approved unanimously. Item 9 is any other unfinished business. 9A is unfinished business from the mayor. I have none. 9B are unfinished business from council members. Ms. Bynum Grace. Mr. Jones.
One item, Mayor, stemming from our lengthy discussion last night relative to rates and so forth. I just wanted to I know the recommendation from one of the presenter was to phase in a water connection fee later, and I didn't know if doing it immediately in connection with the sewer connection fee would be feasible or advisable, or if we could look into that.
I think it's something we would have to look into, because I don't think we have a proposal from Roftalis as to what that would be right at this time.
Yes, sir, that'd be very difficult for us to put together, I believe, on such short notice. But we could certainly look at that and possibly implementing something like that in the future.
Right. Yeah. No, I would just ask that we look into it as a consideration and just see what it would be.
A recommendation of the study. So,
right.
So review that. So.
Okay. That's all I had.
Dr. Albritton? Mayor Pro Tem?
I have none.
Mr. Peterson?
I have none. Thank you.
Reverend King? Okay. Is there any old business from our city attorney, Ms. Newby? Is there any old business from our acting city manager, Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Item 10 is new business. 10A are matters referred from our October the 6th, 2025 work session and our October the 7th, 2025 pre-council meeting. Item 10A1 is a request to modify the speed limit on one street within the city of Perry. Mrs. Newby, I think you had an input that you would like to see that move to our next meeting.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So this would require a code amendment to section 18-5 dealing with speed limit restrictions. Since it was just an item discussed yesterday, we would ask to carry that forward to your 10/21 meeting so we can prepare an ordinance for the first reading.
Okay. Council members, I'll entertain a motion to move this item, table it this evening, and move it to our October 21st meeting. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have approval to move it to our 21st meeting. Thank you, council members. Item 10A2 is the 2026 benefits proposal. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, as you're aware, employee benefits represent one of our most significant expenditures on an annual basis. Pleased to come to you this evening with a proposal that would actually save the city money in the next calendar year for those benefits. As you can see in board pack, in the recommendation from HR, there is a recommendation outlining a transition from our current benefits provider, Cigna and MetLife, to a new benefits provider, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Sun Life. Multifold benefits associated with the proposal, primarily the benefits to the employee. The employee would have essentially the same benefits moving forward, a expanded provider network, and also would enjoy some smaller benefits like smaller copays, that sort of thing, that we regularly hear complaints about. For the city, there is the anticipation of cost savings equivalent to $900,000. So very good proposal. Very much appreciate HR and our benefit specialist, Noel Williams, in putting something together for you all. It's my understanding they work very hard in going out and receiving competitive pricing on these items. And to be able to provide something to our employees that represents no cost increase and the same benefits is certainly something to, I think, celebrate.
Questions, council? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the benefits package as proposed by Mr. Smith.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the benefits package was approved unanimously.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
One stipulation to that,
Yes.
the approval would be pending the city attorney's review of the actual contract to come over. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Item 10B, special exception application 0121-2025. Ms. Carson, anything? This is 408 Haddenham. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve this application as presented. Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the application was approved unanimously. Item 10C is the special exception application 0122-2025, and this is the location at 1113 Jewel, and this is the application on the behalf of Houston County Habitat for Humanities. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve this application. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the application was approved unanimously. Item 10D is a special exception application 0133-2025. This is 603 Woodland Drive. Mrs. Carson, anything additional? Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve this special exception application.
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the special exception was approved unanimously. Item 10E is special exception application 0135-2025. This is 1614 Marshall Circle, again for short-term rental. Ms. Carson? Council members, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve that application as outlined.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the application was approved unanimously. Item 10F is special exception application 0142-2025. This is located at 314 Graydon. Mrs. Carson, anything additional? No, sir. Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve this special exception application as outlined. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the application was approved unanimously. 10G, ordinance for the first reading and introduction. 10G1 is the first reading of an ordinance to rezone property from OI office institutional to RM2 multifamily residential. The property is located at 2002 Kings Chapel Road, tax map number 0P44B0034000. Ms. Carson, anything additional? No, sir. Council members, this is the first reading of this ordinance and no action is required this evening. 10H, change order request for entrance drive to Creekwood Park. Mr. McMurray.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Creekwood Drive is a project we've got going on for a while now, as you're well aware of. Griffin Graydon has submitted a formal request for assistance of a change order due to GDOT requiring a splice box and junction box be moved outside of the right-of-way, so it's not impeding the traffic flow, or traffic flow not going over across. The total for this request for Georgia Power was $31,775.25. Staff has reviewed and recommends the council consider covering those costs for Griffin.
Okay. Questions, council members?
What was the what was the discussion in pre-council about what the cost was originally?
Yes, in the original contract, bidding contract, Griffin prepared for $250 to cover just taking the light down and splicing the wires back together. GDOT came back and said, no, that will not be allowed after the fact, and said that the junction box had to be moved outside of the right-of-way, which requires an underground bore under Courtney Hodges, which drives the expense of this project up substantially.
Wasn't one of our council members, didn't they recommend that we see about splitting the cost of this with the contractor? Seems like that was mentioned.
Yes, we can certainly negotiate anything.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that would outline your desires.
I offer a motion that we pay the $31,000 to get the project moving.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the change order was approved unanimously. Item 10I is Remington Chase Master Meter Funding Assistance. Mr. McMurrian?
Thank you, Mayor. In your board packet, you also have a letter requesting assistance for a master meter at Remington Chase. This is subdivision Phase 2 off of Gurr Road and 341. The city, of course, requires looping of the water system, so the community has dual feed purposes. The master meter would be the county's master meter that is servicing the community where the city is buys the water from the county in this particular subdivision. The total for installation, labor, meter cost, all materials and supplies was listed at $117,750. We received this letter as asking for assistance with the cost, being it is a city meter, a county meter for the city. Staff has reviewed and determined that the meter cost of $39,000 is adequate, and staff recommends council consider covering the cost of the meter and the vault only, and the developer would be responsible for the remainder.
Questions, council members? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion that outlines your desires on this master meter request.
I make a motion that we take what Mr. McMurray said.
Okay. Just paying for the master meter itself and the vault.
Right.
Okay. Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the request was, as outlined, was approved as Mr. McMurrian has outlined for the master meter and the vault only. 10J is Main Street Realignment Funding Assistance. Mr. McMurrian?
Thank you, Mayor. So Main Street Realignment Project has been completed for some time now. Griffin Grading, our contractor, came back in a review process and said, hey, there are two items that we missed on our final pay request. One of those items is pavement marking, which is required by GDOT. The second item was asphalt paving. The total was $66,241 worth of work and materials. Staff has reviewed along with the consulting engineer. We determined that the pavement marking was a after requirement by GDOT, which is pretty much inevitable. The asphalt paving tickets that were supplied did not have the proper chain of custody, if you will, for the asphalt tickets with the proper location and project noted. We were unable to confirm that those tickets actually were applied to our project, so we cannot approve that they are associated with the project. Staff has reviewed, and we recommend that council consider paying for the pavement markings only at $27,762.50.
Questions, council members? At this time, I'll entertain a motion that outlines your desires on this funding request.
At this time, I make a motion that we approve it based on what Mr. McMurray said, pay for only
the GDOT striping.
GDOT striping.
We have a motion to pay for the GDOT striping only.
Mayor, before the vote occurs. I just have a general question on all these that I guess since there were some things with the contractors that were missed. Do we, as the city, I mean, does this beg like tighter oversight of our contractors on our part, or what's kind of the relationship there? Is what I'm trying to understand that, I guess, because I just would hate for this to happen again. So.
In these projects, there's a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
There are inspections done by the city staff, of course, city review of contracts. There's also the consulting engineer that we hire that's responsible for laying all this out and designing accordingly. Then there's, when we're working inside GDOT right-of-way, we're also subject to any of their requests or demands, similar to the railroad. And some of those are, I guess you would say, hindsight, because we don't get all that information up front. Most of these contracts are written similar to the Creekwood Drive entrance, saying that the contractor is responsible for locating, poles, removing poles, or utilities maybe that may be underground in certain projects, and the contractor is responsible for that. Unfortunately, if it is a big ticket item, a lot of times we receive these requests for additional funds. In this particular case, council is not required to honor this request. This is a request for pleading for help from our contractors.
But it was something that GDOT requested or required, and it is installed at this time.
Yes, it is installed.
Okay.
That's correct.
Any other comments? We have a motion and a second to approve the request as outlined by Mr. McMurrin for the striping only. So at this time, all in favor, please indicate by, yes.
Mayor, I know that Mr. King made the motion, but I believe that Mr. Jones started discussion before there was a second.
I thought I heard a second, okay.
I said second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you very much. Please let the record show the realignment was approved subject to the striping only as outlined by Mr. McMurrin. 10K is the CDL Schools LLC agreement referencing our CDL training. Mr. Shoemate.
Thank you, Mayor. At a previous meeting, council had approved the rental contract with the Georgia National Fair for use of the parking lot for the driving portion of our city-hosted CDL course. Tonight, we have the agreement with the CDL school for your consideration. This agreement outlines the fees and terms related to having the school conduct classroom and driving range instruction. And in this round, we have significant participation through Houston County, ESG, and outside contacts, which the city will invoice these participants as in the past course. They'll pay for the city employees. This has been reviewed and approved by the city attorney's office. In addition to this agreement with CDL School, Public Works would like to confirm approval to utilize city vehicles to conduct the field and range portion of the course.
Questions, council members, relative to the CDL School agreement? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve as outlined by Mr. Shoemate.
So move.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the agreement was approved unanimously. 10L is Census and Spectrum lease renewal. Mr. Shoemate?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. The city utilizes software Census for meter reading efforts within our utility division of Public Works. In order for the census tower to transmit readings, we have to lease and utilize license rights from the Federal Communication Commission. This contract has been reviewed and approved by the city attorney, and it's just a renewal to the existing agreement and leased that is in place. This is no additional cost to the city, and the fees are collected by the census through ongoing fees for the city pays for the use of the equipment.
And this is the electronic reading of our meters?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, council? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the lease renewal as outlined. Motion and second. Is there any additional discussion? Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Okay. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the census lease renewal was approved unanimously. Item 10M is regulator station valve installation. Mr. Shoemate?
Thank you, Mayor. In 2022, the PSC conducted a routine inspection of the city's natural gas system, operations and compliance, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. Code 49 includes regulation, which requires each regulator station to have a valve which is located at a sufficient distance from the station so it can be operated during an emergency and might prevent access to the station. The city has 8 stations that do not meet these requirements out of 17. It is a requirement to make plans for remediation. The Public Works Department and ESG would like your approval to complete the first 2 priority stations this fiscal year. Airport Road, which is quoted at $33,602, and a public entrance station at $32,205 for your approval tonight. And additionally, SAP Engineering would have a $7,000 fee association with management of the contractor and documents required to be submitted to PSC.
Okay. Questions, council members? Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask, you said 8 of the 17 are out of compliance?
Yes, sir.
Well, why were the others in compliance? Were they done later under the new regulation?
Yes, sir.
And now we're just trying to bring the older ones into current regulation?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regulator station valve installment as outlined.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Is there any other discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the valve installation was approved as outlined. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 10N is agency subscription agreement with AT&T Enterprises. Chief?
Mayor and council, during a recent audit, it was determined that we did not have an agreement on file for the emergency phones or the cell phones that we use at police and fire. We have a contract with AT&T FirstNet, but we get a discounted price using the Georgia Technology Authority, but we didn't have paperwork showing that. So this is basically a housekeeping. There's no additional money or cost to the city.
Questions, council members? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the subscription agreement as outlined. Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the agreement was approved unanimously. Item 10O is Georgia Economic Placemaking Collaborative Grant Agreement. Ms. Hartley?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, this is a grant agreement for our first year grant cohort year through the Georgia Economic Placemaking Collaborative with the Georgia Cities Foundation. It is a $500 reimbursable grant that'll be used for phase 2 improvements of the Ball Street Alley that Main Street started a couple years ago. There is a financial contribution of at least 20%, which will be paid by the Main Street Advisory Board, and we are optimistic to apply for our second year grant at the end of the year as well.
Okay. Questions, council members? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the grant request as outlined. Motion is second. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. The grant request was approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 11 are general public items. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address mayor and council at this time? Thank you. Item 12 is council member items. Ms. Bynum Grace? Mr. Jones? Dr. Albritton?
Just wanted to ask Chief Everidge how things were with the fair in town up to this point.
I'm almost afraid to say it, but it's been very uneventful from our aspect of things. We've a few more accidents, a lot more traffic, especially over the weekend. With the weather, if the weather's pretty again this weekend, we can expect some more traffic backlogs.
Okay. Anything else? Mayor Pro Tem?
None for me.
Mr. Peterson? Reverend King? Okay. Mr. Smith, anything additional for us this evening?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Newby? Okay, thank you. Item 13 are department heads. Mr. Duffy? Mr. Coates? Okay. Chief, anything in the fire department? Anything additional for police? Okay. Mr. Shoemate? Ms. Chapman? Okay. Mrs. Warren? Okay, thank you. Item 14 are mayor items. Again, I just remind everybody that our meetings are open to the public, and we do encourage your interest and participation. Our next meeting will be on October the 20th. That's after the holidays, right? So we will have a work session that night, and it'll start here in this chambers at 5 p.m. Our next council meeting will be on the 21st, which will be start here at 5 o'clock with our pre-council meeting and our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Again, we encourage your interest in participation, and council, we have the requirement for an executive session, as I understand. Council members, is there anything additional that we need to cover this evening? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our regular session. Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We do stand adjourned until the 20th.